Hello everybody, I am AngryBird. So, we are back for Brawl on Brest. This is game number 2 of the tournament. Today we have for you the top game on your screen, Herr versus Spanischer Ritter. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. I always say Spanish Ritter or yeah, but I think it's Spanischer. It's definitely not that. I'm terrible at name pronunciation. I apologise. I'm really sorry. I'm really bad. I am probably going to end up saying Spanish Ritter, but maybe I can work on it. Get in touch with me, Spanischer. Stay. It's not that name. I'm having a terrible time right now. Let's move on to the game. So we have Spanish Ritter versus Herr. Let's have a look at the decks. First up, we got Herr. He's playing Panzer on Vanguard. We see some early IGs and a pack placed down. It'd be a pack 40. So Robert Vanguard Panzer, he's going to be looking to take the game to Spanish Ritter early on in A phase, and he has the 3 Panther Ds, so and the 2 Panther D Furies. So I'm expecting, a fair few of them to come out, but exactly how many, I don't think all of them will come out. I'll be expecting to see the IGs. In fact, this is pre-patch, and I've uploaded the deck, and it's got 4 IG-18s in A phase, but that will actually be incorrect. It should be 6 IG-18s, I'm sure. It's because the patch has changed the number available, and when I've imported it, it's obviously picked the correct number for the current patch. So that should show 6 IG-18s, and we're expecting pretty much all of them to be used. In terms of Panzer, obviously very strong with the Panther Ds. Spanish with the 3rd US Armoured. He's going to have a tough time with those Panthers. Going to have to rely on the M1 and M5 guns, but he has both M1s and M5s in A phase and in B phase with the 2-star vetted M1 guns in B phase. 4 of those. Will that be enough? He has the B-26B, are they Marauders? The B-26B Bombers in B phase. They might be able to take out a few tanks as well, but no jumbos. No jumbos in this deck. So I think in terms of the tank game, Spanish Ritter is kind of outnumbered. Not outnumbered, outgunned, should I say. Also, a hell of a lot of M1919, shall we say M1919 MMGs. Look at that, 13 of them in C phase. Hell of a lot of those. So I mean, I know there aren't any kind of infantry guns with the 3rd US Armoured. They very much rely on either the, machine guns or the kind of the armoured anti-personnel guns, rather than more static, just unarmoured infantry guns like the IGs. But yeah, interesting. So many machine guns. I think that's also to help him out in the infantry battle, because the US Armoured, they do suffer in that infantry battle. But the long toms, I guess the long toms as well will, could form some pretty decent anti-tank artillery of sorts. Right, let's get the game. Well, the game is underway, so let's join in the action, basically, as I stumble across my words. So, Spanish Ritter, very loose defense in this southern area. Very surprised there is no infantry coming into these 2 areas, and that's basically given Herr a free start. But I have noticed that When Spanish Ritter, and this is basically from my own experience playing him as well, he does start with a very defensive setup, which can result in the enemy player picking up a number of points, but I find that he likes to try as much as possible to conserve his units and then basically just build up quite a strong sort of defense and eventually push through with those with the efficiency that he's traded with. Coming up against Herr though, he is kind of a fairly similar player in a sense of he is a methodical player who you know, trades very well over time, tends to play more of a balanced deck. This time he's taking Vanguard income, but I still feel he has like a balanced play style, so he will tend to trade very well. He just uses the income to get an early advantage in terms of numbers on the field. But yeah, very surprised, you know, with the way that Spanish plays the game, he has given up, well, certainly this flag, and potentially, I mean, Herr obviously wasn't expecting nothing to be here, and he doesn't know nothing's in this forest. But I mean, the front line is pushed rather forward. I'd like to see the SBW 234 maybe push forward. I mean, it's going to get revealed. It's going to reveal the M5 gun, which will likely destroy it, but it will give him an idea that nothing's there. Especially if you move through this forest and then down, tries to move straight down and maybe get there before the M5 gun can fire. We've got an early Panther D Fuhrer into this southern side, so maybe that's his idea. He's kind of realising it's very weak, so an early Panther D Fuhrer coming in. There's the P47D strafing the IG in the northern side. It looks like this is where Spanish is going to make his play with the heavy flamethrowers, the M3 half tracks, which are now reduced in price after the patch, but these were previously 20 points, I believe. They're now 10. So a nice reduction for the Americans and the French divisions. So potentially we could see, well, certainly we're going to see more armoured divisions taking the half tracks, because they're a hell of a lot cheaper now. And potentially that's trying to balance the armoured versus infantry matchups, because the infantry can fairly decently outspam the armoured in terms of infantry numbers. So giving the armoured divisions, you know, access to cheaper half tracks maybe allows them to take out a few more infantry units from the standard infantry decks. We have a Piper L4. I'm surprised it doesn't show the picture there. The Piper L4 10-point recon playing, very rarely seen. And actually, if you're wondering if you've seen this match before, this was casted by Rangru and Khan earlier this week as I'm recording it, and it's a great cast. Check it out. I'll link it somewhere, be it in either the cards or the description. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. They do a great cast. I really love watching Rangru and Khan's casts. What I wanted to do with this video, I mean, we've kind of started off in quite a standard way. The Focke-Wulf 198.8 is now coming in, originally targeting the P47, but switching targets. Beautiful choice of micro there to switch targets, take down the Piper, and the P47 had no chance of recovering that position. What I kind of wanted to do with this was, because the game has already been casted by Rangru and Khan, is try something different, and we're going to try and we're going to see whether this works. I'm going to look at the micro of the two players across the game. So I'm going to select all the units right now, and we're going to hold shift, and we're going to watch the two players as they micro units. We can see Herr in this southern side pushing, making attack moves forwards. Spanish Ritter in the northern side, potentially, I think he has some attack moves of his own. But I think the Flammenwerf will probably get taken out in the long run. I like the command M4A1, although it's going to come down this road. It looks like he's revealing there's not a hell of a lot there, but the heavy flamethrower coming up against the Panzergrenz, and who will win out in this one? This is going to be a tight battle. If the M3 half track can get involved, I think definitely the Americans will win out, but I'm not 100% sure this time. They have remaining 2-man. Here Robert's pulling back the Panzergrenz. He is going to lose the battle. Yes, there they go, pinned down, and they will get surrendered. So Here Robert at the last moment tried to micro them back. We have a look at the Panther D Führer. No orders as yet. The Focke-Wulf was trying to take out those heavy flamethrowers, and look at the way that Herr Robert's now moving back with the Focke-Wulf. He doesn't want to keep it flying over enemy lines. The M3 half-track pushing very far forward on a fast move, and eventually it's going to get revealed by the Panther D. There it is. Herr Robert putting the Panther D on an attack move now, and the Panzergrenz and the flamethrowers unload, but there is a Command M4A1 charging up or pushing up the road. I think that's also on a fast move. Now it's switched to a attack move, trying to put it in the back of this compound, and I think that's, he needs to get it in somewhere where we can ambush these Panther Ds, because he's not going to beat them at range. So it looks like Herr Robert in the south, he's got some attack moves. He's definitely pushing forwards. The armoured rifles, interested in the way that Spanish Ritter is using just a standard move order. He doesn't want these to stop if they open fire, and yeah, actually having been open fired on by the Panzergrenz, he is now retreating them. The M5 gun is going to take shots surely at the tanks. It looks like potentially it has already tracks broken the Panther D. I think, yes, that is on an efficient shot order, I believe. It's just we cannot see the icons due to the patch changes with the replay. Because we're now on a new patch, the icon is not showing up. So I believe that's either on a hold fire or an efficient shot order. So Spanish Ritter pushing armoured rifles in at the moment, but not really microing this central side. A lot of concentration going up north for Herr Robert. And actually Spanish Ritter is pushing the armoured rifles into position. This bazooka could well take on the Panther D. I think Herr Robert is realising he's now in a little bit of trouble with the front line moving forward. He's moved back the Panther D Führer, but I don't think that's far enough. I think he needs to get some infantry in there. The MG42 won't be enough. Surely he knows that there's infantry going, especially with the way that he moved that Panther back. Spanish Ritter, he's now seen the Panther D and he's deciding to engage. They do take out the MG in the half track, and he is flanking to get a bazooka shot, I believe, on that Panther D Führer. So the Panther D Führer spots the armoured rifles, but they immediately goes down to one of those bazookas, and Spanish is going to pick up the point, but he is 14-10 down and will be defeated in 23 minutes time. The Bofors coming into a very aggressive position and needs to get that out the half track. The heavy flamethrowers, sorry, the Flammenwerfers of the Germans engage, but that Bofors very far forwards, and I feel like that's going to go down really early, and that'd be quite a points investment. 90 points for a Bofors, and I think that was a bad move by Spanish, bringing it so far forward. And he has the P47D Mustang right over enemy lines, so at any point Herr Robert could potentially spawn in another Focke-Wulf 190A 8 and double team this P47 Mustang. Both players at the moment just targeting their aircraft at each other, and Spanish Ritter now retreating the P47. I think he will get out. I mean, the P47 is very fast. He's taking fire from the Gepard in the southern side. It does take a fuel tank leak in, but that should get out. He needs to give it the evac order though. The Panther D in the north being engaged by the M5 gun there, but I think at that range, well, let's see. The M5 gun, it does have its APCR shells. No, sorry, they are spent. We're just looking at the info card. So it shouldn't really be able to, well, no, actually it still has 130mm of penetration. We'll struggle at that distance. It will have a very low penetration chance. The Focke-Wulf 190A8 was strafing the armoured rifles in the north, and they surely will go down. Herr Robert's bringing both his planes down south under his Gepard and potentially looking for the engagement with the P-47D Mustang, but wants to engage it on his own terms with his own Gepard behind him. The M5 gun was told to engage the Panther D there, and does now start to do so, but will receive returning fire from the, well, both tanks. Both Panther Ds are going to return fire, and I think at that kind of range, yeah, we're going to see it go down, especially with the PaK-40 fire and the IG-18 fire. So it looks like Spanish choosing to strafe those IG-18s, and Herr Robert's planes are now in the northern side. So if they'd have remained in that southern side, he could have got the engagement off, especially with the Gepard there as well. It looks like the IG-18 will now go down to the P-47D strafing runs, but this one is already smoking and has the aileron damage. Potentially might go down. No. Oh no, the Gepard is still engaging. So I feel like if Herr Robert was to pursue that, he could potentially have picked up a kill there, but did not. Decided to bring his planes back up to the north area, and I think that's potentially to protect any attack. He's kind of moving them north and south. It's interesting the way that he's microing those aircraft. The Piper, look at that Piper order. It's just recon this entire central area. So it looks like Spanish Ritter going for the attacks in the centre ground. So he sent that Piper in to just really recon the area. He knows it's going to go down. I mean, Herr Robert pushing forward both the Focke-Wulfs. Oh wow, retreating one of them. I thought it was both of them for a moment there. They maybe ran out of fuel. But that Piper, yeah, will go down. And just keeping his plane out of the way of the P-47D Mustang there. Spanish Ritter is pretty pinned back in this southern side. We're at a 12-12. His moves in the centre have gained him back the 12-12. And it looks like he's going to lose the northern, sort of his hold on the northern road, but the flag is down here. Although, you know, a number of units here now from Herr Robert, and only really 2 armoured rifles and an armoured LMG rifle. The mortar half-track targeting the armoured rifles in that central area. The IG-18 engaging the M19 MMG, but will lose out to that battle. I think Spanish could do with a couple of machine guns in this area to take on this ridgeline that Herr Robert's kind of set himself up with the IG-18s. But Spanish really invested in the central area. It looks like he's definitely pushing forward in that area. Interesting, the M3 half track that he's pulling down here behind, and potentially I think he was looking to just conserve that unit, but yeah, interesting. Interesting movement order he decided to give that one. So the half track now engaging the armoured rifles on the flag. Herr Robert continuing to use that artillery piece, and it's great to see the PaK-40 on the ridge engaging the Commander M4A1, and surely that Commander M4A1 will go down. Spanish deciding to retreat it, but potentially the P-47 could stress out the PaK-40. Not quite, does hurt it, but the Gepard is there. No fighters coming in from Herr Robert. Potentially might, well, yeah, it is now pinned down. I'd like to see this Commander M4 just push forward a little bit more and try and get that kill onto the PaK-40 now that it's pinned down. So Spanish using the P-47s to strafe the AT guns, and look at this armoured rifle. It's got itself in quite a nice position, potentially pushing forward and take out that PaK-40, and I feel like that PaK-40 is going to go down to the armoured rifles now that they're in a decent range and engaging. It's only a matter of time there. Oh, down goes the P-47D to the SDKFZ-71 that's been brought into the centre ground, and the Gepard in the southern area. We can see Herr Robert's not microed these units at all recently, and he's kind of set himself up a nice defensive position with these 2 Panther Ds, and he's happy with that position, not pushing forwards any micro. I mean, he's picked up the 2 flags here from Spanish. He has the 13-11 overall, will get the victory in 21 minutes time, but yeah, he's kind of set himself up a defensive position, especially with the Pack 40 up here. Maybe one more anti-tank gun would be nice in this forest, or an IG-18 that will have gone down, but he has the MG-42 there as well, so yeah, beautiful little defensive position that Herr set up. And now he's set that up, he doesn't necessarily need to micro that area. He can concentrate elsewhere, and at the moment he's kind of concentrating himself in the centre, trying to push back against the attack that Spanish made earlier. The armoured rifles are falling back, but I think as soon as they're going to push into something that's going to surrender them, they won't recover their falling back state until they get into their own territory. So yeah, they're going to... I feel like maybe they're going to... I don't know where they're going at the moment. They're in no man's land. Oh, they do recover. Okay, so I didn't think they would recover until they were inside their own territory. So there you go, learning things every day, guys. These armoured rifles have recovered in time. Let's just grab all the units again so we have those armoured rifles as well. See if Spanish uses them. They've ended up in a really nice position on the edge of this forest, especially with the bazooka that they have. They could do some damage to anything coming down these roads, but the 2 recon, the 2 recon half tracks are going to come down the road. They will, oh no, Herr decided not to take them that route, so he's kind of microing them through the forest. He's now pushing forwards with the Tiger 8 and the Panzergrenz with the attack move. Sorry, the Tiger is staying where it is to provide covering fire. The Panzergrenz moving forwards. It looks like the mortar, yes, engaging the M5 gun on the hill. That will be a nice... well, it's definitely a nice target. Look at the movement order Spanish is given the M19 MMG. He's kind of moving it up to cover this open ground here. It kind of was already doing that back there, so kind of surprised that he's done that. Maybe bringing in another one would be better, but he has kind of weakened the top side by doing that. But you know, interesting move. Oh, it looks like the armoured rifles are pushing forwards now, and luckily here Robert's kind of moving the Pack 40 just out the way in time. But look at this attack coming into the centre ground. Oh, he's straight. He knows that those armoured rifles are there now, and he was trying to use the Focke-Wulfs to kind of strafe, but they've moved position. In comes another mortar half track into the centre ground, and along with an M15 CGMC. So finally Spanish will match Herr Robert's anti-air. The Command M4A1 engaging the Panzer IV picks up the sight damage. Surely that will help it out. Will it get another chance? Transmission destroyed. It just needs to get a killing blow here. Oh, the Panzer IV-H just gets a final shot in, and I think Spanish was unlucky to lose that unit. Yes, that was a very unfortunate loss. The M1919 caught out at the very front line, and that's not where you want your machine gun. You want your machine gun back here covering the open ground, but I'm guessing a few infantry units he did have here have gone down, and the mortars engaging the armoured LMG rifles, and every infantry unit you take out when you're facing the US armoured is a massive bonus, because eventually they run out of infantry units, and the infantry is their weak point. I mean, also potentially as well, the Shermans, you know, they won't win the range game against, you know, Panthers, but infantry, particularly on this division, you don't get a lot of infantry, so every infantry unit you take out is a win. And Herr Robert has decided to play that game, and he's invested in the 2 mortar half tracks, and he's playing that game really well right now. No artillery on the side of Spanish, but remember, he only has the long toms in C phase, so we're not going to see them. Well, potentially we are just entering C phase now, but I'm guessing he wants to invest in his frontline forces. Herr Roberts picked up the 1410, pushing back in the central area, and yeah, Spanish is not going to like the current situation that he finds himself in. Another Tiger E coming into the centre ground, just to this Tiger E's moved forward, so he's replacing the kind of the ridged cover that this previous one provided. And actually, you can see a lot. I believe this line of sight is probably wrong. You can see a lot more there. The B-26B Marauders coming in, and I'm guessing that's targeting the Tiger A. Herr reversing that. No, targeting the recon half tracks. I apologise. And surely units will go down here. No, nothing goes down. We do get a pin and fall back, and the LMG rifles are going to move in to try and pick up the surrender. But nothing gained there from that B-26B, and that's unfortunate. Spanish will not have liked that. You know, seeing this back, he will be unhappy that nothing went down there. It's quite surprising, really. Another command M4A1 coming into this centre ground. He's got the M1 gun back here. Needs to get that one loaded, potentially into this little position here. But he's not going to make any ground in this southern side at the moment. I mean, he's not micro in the area, so he can't. It's not like he's investing. He has invested some resources here, but it's not like he's really making a concerted effort. At the moment, I think he's concentrating on this centre ground. But Her's got a lot of stuff here. I mean, I guess Spanish, you know, he won't know that. But, yeah, it's difficult to see at the moment where he's going to make the ground. He can certainly pick up this flag here, but he's at 15-9 down right now. So, you know, yeah, that flag he does pick up. Oof, the Focke-Wulf. The Focke-Wulfs are going to get on the back. Yeah, down goes one, and surely the second one. No, Herr calling it off then. So plenty of people would have pursued that fight. But Herr, he wanted to conserve his fighters. Could have been stuck behind enemy lines, especially with the M15 CGMC. But then the mortar, look at that, the mortar targeting the M15 CGMC. So Herr picking that unit out. I don't know whether he can see that. I think, yes, he can from the Pack 40. He's engaging it. That unit is going to go down. It's in a bad position. Spanish not really aware that unit is in a tough spot right now. The mortars are going to come in, and surely that's going to reveal the fact that he needs to move that. Yes, so he's pushing the CGMC forwards out of the mortar fire, and potentially, yeah, he's just going to micro it into a better spot there. The M19 that he pushed down from this ridge has made it into position, but it's under fire from the two Panzergrens and the two mortars now. That's going to go down, and obviously he doesn't have it back here, but I think we're going to see some territory swing here, because that M19 MMG is kind of holding the front line forwards for Spanish. So when that goes down, we're going to see some territory swing towards Herr. The P51D coming in, targeting these light recon vehicles. But, you know, he's got two Tigers to worry about. So, oof, and it goes down just before the bomb's released. And yeah, no effect. So again, Spanish unlucky there. Herr coming in with the fighters a little bit too late, does call them off because of the threat of the M15 CGMC. Two Tigers are gonna just mop everything up down this road. There's nothing here. Wow. Sorry, the M5 gun is moving into a position where it can take on those Tigers. So potentially might pick up a kill here. Does start engaging the rear Tiger. The Tiger's concentrating on the Panzergrens at the moment. Driver knockout. Herr not quite targeting this M5 gun yet. Not realising the threat that's facing his Tiger E's. Surely he will retarget mortars. It looks like one of them out of ammo, and the northern one also out, so both of them out of ammo, and he's bringing them both into the same area to resupply with the Opel Blitz munitions. Now he's targeting it, so must be a couple of shells left on that mortar half track. Pushing forwards with the Panzergrens in the half tracks and across open ground, and those Tigers have tanked a hell of a lot of shots from this M5 gun. I'm surprised one of them hasn't gone down, because it has the APCRs, and now the fire coming in from the mortars, yeah, it's going to really hurt that M5 gun. Potentially could go down. Engagement in the southern side as well. Spanish realising he needs to pull something out of the bag now. There's only 4 well, less than 5 minutes on the clock, but both the Panthers have gone down to the combined fire of the M1 guns, and wow, that's quite significant. He's also pushing units down the southern side. We've got the B-26B coming in, targeted. Well, sometimes the aircraft targeting isn't fantastic. It seems like they're targeting on the SDKFZ, but I would be surprised if he doesn't try and hit the Tigers, surely. The bombs are released, and oh, he was going, yeah, he was going for the infantry. Yeah, probably the best move there, actually. Just trying to delay any attack coming forwards. We've got Micro going up in the northern side, the engineers pushing forward. Spanish doing a hell of a lot all over the map right now. And the engineers cutting off the Flammenwerfers in the rear. The armoured LMG rifles will probably go down to 2 Panzergrenadiers, but the engineers coming in will help that fight out. The other engineers pushing forwards, the Herr Robert recognising the threat and putting the Panzer IV H's into a better place. But potentially these engineers might get out. But they're kind of behind enemy lines. I know they're in their own front line here, but really they're behind enemy lines right now. Yeah, both of them immediately pinned down by the Focke-Wulf and the combined fire of all the other forces. And yeah, they are behind enemy lines now. So the P-47D coming in. Oh, it's now going, well, it's now falling back due to the SDKFZ-71. Was going to come down and strafe this PaK-40, which is taking shots at the M4A176. Does get the tracks broken. Other tanks, or the other tank engaging now as well. Spanish could make some ground in this southern side. I mean, Herr Robert's not really done anything from when he picked this position up at the very start of the game. The P-51D fighter bomber comes in, and again, unlucky. The PaK-40 went down just before the bombs came in, so kind of a wasted bombing run, but, you know, I think Spanish is getting unlucky with a couple of hits. But this central area from Herr Robert, very strong with the Tiger E's behind all the 259s. In fact, he's got 2 Tiger E's and a Panther D there now. A very strong build-up of forces. The P-51D sticking around and strafing the... and taking out the Gepard. So Herr Robert's going to have to invest in some more anti-air in the southern side. And the P-51D goes down in reply to the SDKFZ-71. Look at this M3 half-track. He's just fast moving this all the way forward. I don't know how this has any front line right now. This shouldn't... this should not be holding territory. But somehow it's very far forwards. And it's now lost the territory, so it's well behind enemy lines. So one of the, I think there was either an M1 or an M5 gun up in that northern side have gone down. There's a bailed out M3 half track. All the micro going down in the southern side now with Spanish and this attack. And the CGMC is in terrible position. The command M4 is going down. I guess this is CGMC tried to retreat from this position down southwards, but it's in a bad spot right now. And there's 2 Tigers, a Panther D, a hell of a lot of infantry, recon half tracks, you know, infantry down here in these woods. There's just so much here, and I mean, Spanish won't. Well, he should know there's a hell of a lot here. Yes, I think by now these forces have been revealed several times. So yeah, I guess there's 4 minutes left on the clock. We're at a 14:10. It's going to be tough for Spanish to make up more ground. I think he was correctly targeting this southern side, but there's now a Tiger E and a Panther D that's come in, another Panther D as well, and yeah, that southern side is going to be really difficult to penetrate through them. He did a great job of taking out the initial Panthers, but now the reinforcing tanks have come in, and yeah, he's going to struggle a lot more getting through there. The Bofors just pushing forwards from its rear position. The B-26B just circling in the rear. Probably came in for a target, but it got shot down earlier. The Piper just reconning positions on this hill, but that's going to go down immediately once these 2 Gepards open up. And Herr Robert's not even waiting. He's just bringing the fighters straight in to counter that Piper. And does take out the bailed out half track with the strafing run as well. And retreat him, but I guess, you know, he's not been under severe anti-air fire. The B-26B now comes in, and I think that was targeted onto the Tiger E. Yeah, the attempt was to target the Tiger E's, but not enough. There's another B-26B, I'm guessing exactly the same attempt. And the SDKFZ-71 is firing, and oh, potentially these recon half-tracks moving straight through the bombs, but again, nothing taken out. So those B-26Bs at the moment, they've been fairly underwhelming for Spanish, and he's really got, somehow he's still holding this flag, but he's really got nothing there, absolutely nothing there. And Herr is going to push through at some point. Herr likes this little ridge line. He's not pushed forwards more infantry from that position, but potentially Panzerlehr could be running low on infantry themselves. They don't get a hell of a lot of infantry. The recon, the M3 half track's just hanging out behind enemy lines. I mean, I would like to see Spanish at least put it like into lighter cover, so it can, you know, something like that, so it can still fire on like transports, but isn't necessarily going to be really revealed by a tank, you know, necessarily coming through. But I guess he's heavily invested in other areas. A very ambitious armoured rifles move there in that northern side, and we're seeing a lot less micro now. Command M4A1 targeting the Panzer IV-H could take that out, or it's potentially lost line of sight on that. But yeah, Spanish's forces have been fairly decently dispatched by Herr. The Tiger E in a fantastic position to overwatch, and Spanish now going to try and get, oh, luckily the Command M4 I think went out of range, and he's fast moving this one down the road, but I'm guessing at the moment he kind of knows that this is out of reach. I mean, we've got less than a minute. He's not going to recover, so yeah, I think that's why he's taking such ambitious attempts. The fighters coming in to try and take out these B-26Bs, but a bit too much investment I think into these B-26Bs. They've been fairly underwhelming, and yeah, down goes to the combined fire of the SDKFZ-71s and the Focke-Wulfs. The anti-air of the Germans so strong with these SDKFZ-71s, but also the Gepards. When you've got, especially when you've got two of them together, they can certainly provide, you know, a hell of a lot of fire. We've got another SDKFZ-71 in the southern side, so that air game is really held up. But Spanish was investing quite a bit in the air force, and I don't think that played out for him so well. So Herr picks up the victory, 33 minutes 15 seconds. And sorry, let's have a look at the team stats. Yeah, fairly convincing victory, 1,000 points up, and I feel like a lot of the aircraft maybe, you know, got shot down, which helped pick that up. I mean, look at the kill list on this Focke-Wulf 190A8. I mean, I guess 3 Pipers, that's only 30 points, but a nice P47D kill and a nice B26B kill. What else have we got? The Gepard picks up, you know, a P47D. That's a nice kill for the Gepard. The SDKFZ-71, you know, that picks up a P47D and 2 P51D kills. A hell of a lot of airplanes have gone down for Spanish, and those airplanes did not do the job for him. So a big investment into the Air Force, which didn't pay off, and I think that's where he lost a lot of efficiency, because, you know, losing those aircraft, he wasn't putting the troops on the ground. He was investing them into airplanes that were getting shot down. So potentially, you know, that hurt his front line. We didn't see any artillery through the game as well. I mean, he only had the long toms, but we didn't see them come down in the end. And they can be pretty powerful at taking out these heavy tanks. But on this occasion, Herr wins the game, and congratulations to Herr. Let's have a look at how that affects the results. So the Brawl on Brest tournament, Herr moves through with the win against Spanish Ritter, and he will face whoever wins out of Zenengun versus Gardenia. So that will be a nice match. And the winner obviously will face Herr. So both Herr and Sean, both fantastic players in Group 1 of Steel Division League at the moment, and both of them through to the semi-finals, and they're going to be tough competition to whoever comes up against both of those players. Right, well, thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. We did do something a little bit different, and we had the units highlighted, concentrating on the micro. I did this because the replay was covered by Rangru and Khan, so certainly check that out if you haven't watched it already. I'm sure you have already seen that. But yeah, I thought because it's already been cast, we could concentrate on some micro and kind of dig into the moves that the players are making as they're playing the game, and potentially I think we did spot in that very southern side Herr, he kind of set up his defensive position early, and that helped him out in the micro game because he didn't have to do anything down there for a hell of a long time, and really that meant that he could concentrate his micro in the areas that mattered, and we did see that with this cast. Like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit the thumbs up button. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and it gets the game out to more eyes. The more people playing Steel Division 2, the better. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to see more action, and make sure you don't miss any of the Brawl on Brest action. We'll be having another replay coming out tomorrow. We're aiming to cover all the games this week, get them all out. One Brawl on Brest game a day. Well, let's leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. I am AngryBird. I will see you next time.